live in Dearborn, Michigan for the March Against Islamification. We will not let our country fall and become like London.
They're worried, they're scared. They can see that their own civilization is collapsing. Belief in Christianity, belief in God is collapsing. They can see that their values are under threat in every single way, and they're just trying to blame it on the Muslims. Even though that's not on the Muslims, it's on them. They abandoned God. They abandoned the family. They chose to have dogs and cats instead of children. You know, that's not on us, it's on them.
Where did you call? This is a church.
Yeah, I thought you can help me. Oh, okay. I'm not a Muslim though.
Yeah, that's fine, no worries. So not only for the Muslims.
Okay, so I can still come?
4:30 and 16, and we normally helps for the refugees for the food bank.
Headlines and propaganda aside, is a beautiful religion, which is a just religion, and it's about helping ordinary, decent people in any way that you possibly can. This woman has experienced Islam. She has experienced the true essence of Islam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to another episode of Muslims Uncensored with me, Robert Carr, and Roshan Saleh. Now, Roshan, you always used to start off the show, used to like to drivel on about how things are going at Five Pillars. Is there anything you want to share with our audience before we kick off today's topics?
No, not really.
No updates, so nothing going on?
I mean, there's always updates, but I can't tell the whole world what's happening behind the scenes.
Man of mystery, yeah. We have things going on. We're not doing nothing here at Five Pillars. We're very busy. Well, we do actually have a lot to discuss in today's show. And the funny thing is the anti-Islam, Israel First movement, which is finally starting to get criticized now, including in America itself, has mobilized and has staged another stunt, this time in Dearborn, Michigan, which I know fairly well.
Okay.
So I would say about last night, obviously there's a time difference. So during the night and today, this morning, footage has surfaced of some a small group of extreme radical Christians, Christian Zionists, who staged, they call it like a Christian unity protest in Dearborn, but in reality it's basically an anti-Islam hate fest. And they marched through the city, which is known for having a very strong Arab and Muslim population, and basically inciting upsetting people, riling up the community there. So now we're starting to see all this footage come out. I don't know if you've even seen this type of footage, Roshan. It's literally really fresh from the States. The guy behind it, who's called Jake Lang, he actually attempted to desecrate the Quran. Just warning brothers and sisters, there will be some upsetting footage. I think I'll blur it out in the final edit, but if you're a little bit sensitive, then just skip ahead a little bit. Jake Lang, you can see there, he was wielding a Quran. He attempted to desecrate it, and Muslims, local Muslims, actually rushed to defend the Quran. He's wielding a slab of bacon there. You can imagine what he intended to do. The Quran was rescued by local Muslims, but obviously this is the latest example of anti-Islam forces in America who coincidentally are also very pro-Israel, trying to rile up tensions, put neighbor against neighbor at each other's throats in order to, I guess, destroy the West in a way, to have it fighting itself, which Israel can then exploit for its own benefit. And just to give you a taste of who this Jake Lang fellow is, you can see him here tonguing that wall in Israel, which a lot of Christians do, including a lot of American and British politicians.
Oh, he's not Jewish, he's Christian.
He's a Christian Zionist. I suppose it's debatable now, even among Christians, whether you're a proper Christian if you're a Christian Zionist. I mean, just look at this guy. Does that look Christian to you? No. Tonguing that wall like that? I don't think that's what Christianity is all about. It
looks Jewish to me.
Tonguing that wall in Israel, which all the politicians are forced or meant to do. If you're going to become a prime minister in Britain, you have to give that wall a good old tongue lashing.
I mean, Christianity is not Judaism, right? They're distinct religions. So why is he dressed up as a Jew kissing the Wailing Wall?
It's insane,
why is he partaking in Jewish rituals?
Do you know what? There's this really big thing right now, and even American Christian politicians are engaging in it. It's this idea that to be Christian, you have to defend Israel, including the modern day concept, this political Zionist thing.
Because?
Today. Well, they say it's in scripture. They say it's in the Bible that to be a Christian, you have to defend the concept of Israel.
I don't think that's true.
Which is, it's not true, obviously. Yeah. Other Christians have condemned that interpretation. But also they keep coming up with this concept of, oh, they're God's chosen people. And even Christians are regurgitating this Jewish line, which Zionists also push for their own political agenda, that they are God's chosen people. Now, okay, I used to be Christian, Roshan. I'm not anymore. I'm a Muslim. Alhamdulillah. Thank God for that. I was guided towards the truth. But even I know and remember from my Christian days that no, it's the Christians from their point of view are now God's chosen people. The Jews were once God's chosen people, but now they have deviated, and the believers in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, they are now the chosen people. So this idea that even Christians believe that the Jewish people are the chosen people of God is complete rubbish. It's a total twisting and whitewashing of the faith in order to convince stupid Christians to get behind the Zionist project. These are stupid people and their interpretation.
I did read the Bible when I was younger, out of interest, and I mean, it's actually strengthened my belief in Islam, to be honest. It strengthened my iman because I could see the errors or whatever. But as far as I remember, the God's chosen people, in quotes, rebelled against God when they were with Prophet Musa in the Sinai, and they were condemned to 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. They took up the calf, worshipping the calf in the absence of, a sign from God, etc., etc. So I don't think the understanding is that they were God's chosen people come what may. They were God's chosen people as long as they obeyed God, and they didn't obey God.
At that
so
time,
it's just a misreading of their own Torah or Bible, isn't it?
Exactly. There's another point I also want to make to these idiots who engage in these types of protests. You can see them here marching through Dearborn, just trying to upset people.
They're worried. They're scared. They can see that their own civilization is collapsing. Belief in Christianity, belief in God is collapsing. They can see that their values are under threat in every single way, and they're just trying to blame it on the Muslims. Even though that's not on the Muslims, it's on them. They abandoned God. They abandoned the family. They chose to have dogs and cats instead of children. That's not on us, it's on them.
Exactly, yeah. If their churches are empty, it's not because Muslims emptied it, you know what I mean? But there are a lot of people embracing Islam, including in America. That's something I found. I was really pleasantly surprised when I visited Dearborn. There were a lot of non-Muslim communities embracing Islam in a very similar way to how you see it happening here in Britain. Mexicans and stuff who are embracing Islam because, again, they just saw how Muslims were and how Islam is as a religion.
Robert,
and they saw it as the one true faith.
Let's face it. If there was a level playing field and all religions were just allowed to proselytize, freely, Islam would win hands down. Literally droves of people would be converting to Islam all over the world, as they are. But I think what the West is trying to do now, it realizes that if it doesn't intervene by force and by sanction and by political means, more people are going to become Muslim. And they're trying to stop that happening, which I think is unfair because it's stopping the light of Islam coming to the world. And obviously we're not bringing Islam to the people by the sword. Yeah. We're bringing Islam to the people through conversation, through argument, through persuasion. And I think in secular countries, there should be nothing wrong with that because this is not a Christian country. I mean, you could possibly argue that America is still a Christian country to a certain extent, but Britain is now an atheistic country, basically, a majority atheist country or agnostic country, and it's a minority Christian country. It may have a Christian heritage, but quite frankly, the sight of people who don't believe in God and who've never been to church, never read the Bible, proclaiming and defending Christianity or Christian values, I mean, irony is dead.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it makes sense. It highlights just how weak Christianity is when these guys are its greatest defenders. These morons and knuckle
extremists
and extremists like that. Because he went off on a rant at City Hall as well, and he was just engaging in the most stupid Islamophobic bile that no one can respect. The honest, ordinary, everyday American can't even respect that. So why would you, how could you possibly think that you would convert people to Christianity with that kind of loudmouth, nasty behavior, bully boy tactics,
And they're going around with bacon, slapping the Quran with bacon, and they're calling us the extremists. Do you see us defaming Jesus Christ? Do you see us kind of desecrating the Bible?
Yeah, do you know
We're
what?
better than them.
That's a really good point as well. Like, this guy is a total slave, not to God, but to a foreign regime, Israel. He's a slave to Zionism. Even I mean, in Israel, Christians are being killed, they're being oppressed, they're being massacred, they're being spat on. There's footage of Christians who go to Jerusalem to preach the gospel or whatever. They get spat on by Israelis because they're so bigoted, so hateful, so nasty. It's their ideology at the end of the day, not Judaism, Zionism. But the fact is that Christians should know what it's like to have their beloved prophet or their beloved savior, Jesus, insulted and ridiculed, because obviously there is traditions of that in Judaism. It happens in Israel. Jesus gets insulted, mocked and ridiculed. Christians know how hard that hurts them. Muslims never do that. But instead of being decent to Muslims and going, we know how it feels when people insult your beloved prophet, so we're going to respect yours out of decency, they go, no, we're going to do exactly what those scumbags who insult Jesus to us, we're going to do the same to you. So that's why Muslims are always a bit handicapped in debate, because a Christian could just come in and say this about the prophet, that about the prophet, you can't do nothing about it. But do you know what? I think that's why so many people are going to embrace Islam and are embracing Islam, because they see the behavior of these filthy animals who think that throwing mud at our beloved prophet is a way of winning a debate. They always do it. But actually, you are falling into the same dirty sewer that the people who insulted you are. That's not Christianity, that's not religion, that's just bad form. So yeah, inshallah, let's see, let's keep Islam growing, let's maybe go back to Dearborn. I'd love another return trip. If these guys are going to keep showing up, then maybe Five Pillars should make an appearance as well. Let's see how that story develops. But yeah, the guy behind it, Jake Lang, that's all you need to know about it right there. That's the American patriot, apparently, who's trying to save Christianity in the West.
Israel first.
Israel first. There is a follow-up story. This story actually originated in America, but has come over to here. We'll focus on the UK version of it. A lady, as you can see here, an honourable, decent woman, has called up, she's engaged in a social experiment, she called up several churches asking them for help. She said on the phone, I'm a mother with a baby, and I don't have the ability to get baby feed. I need your help. Can you please help me out with anything you can? All the churches she contacted said, what?
Sling your
No,
hook.
what the hell? This is a church, madam. Go away. But when she called up a mosque, it was a very different story. It's quite a long video. I'll see if I can play out a bit now so then we can react to it together.
I was wondering, can you guys help me with formula? Formula? Yeah. Currently struggling with my daughter. I was wondering, can you guys help me with formula?
Formula?
Yeah.
Where did you call? This is a church.
Yeah, I thought you can help me.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
This woman on TikTok that called different churches and she was asking for baby formula, and a lot of the churches refused her and they turned her away. I was once a single mom. I know what it's like to struggle sometimes. But you guys know I love to do an experiment and I want to see what it's like for the UK. I'm going to call churches and I'm going to call mosques as well. So I'm going to call a church first.
Who do you need to talk to?
I'm not quite too sure. I don't really go to your church. I've got a 3-month-old baby. Do you guys can I have formula for my baby?
Can you have some, what for your baby, sorry?
Some baby formula? I'm struggling with like getting formula.
Formula?
Yeah.
We're not, you thinking we're a food bank? Because we're a church. We don't have that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to, okay. All right. Thank you. I just thought you could help.
Please leave your messages after the tone.
I'm currently struggling. My daughter's 6 months and I need help with baby formula.
Come to pick it up then if I ask you to, or how can I deliver it to you?
Yeah, I can come and get it, but I'm not a Muslim. Is that still okay?
Yeah, that's fine, my dear sister. Is there any certain age there?
You can get the number 2. The number 2 Aptamil.
Number 2?
Yeah.
Sure, okay then, that's fine. Yeah, we can prepare something for you and then you can come and get it. We'll try to get it for you, but if you can't find it, is it okay? Would you take a cash?
I'm currently struggling a bit with my daughter. I wanted to know, can you guys help me with getting baby formula?
Okay, how old is she?
She's 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can come and see Brother Kinan 4:30 today.
Okay. I'm not a Muslim
For the
though.
children. That's fine, no worries. So not only for the Muslims.
Okay, so I can still come?
4:30 and 16, and we normally helps for the refugees for the food bank.
Okay.
For you, is it okay?
Okay. And I'm going to keep my opinion to myself.
So that's basically the experiment. She's actually done it for a second time now. She called up churches and mosques again. Guess how it turned out? She got help from the mosque, who was actually willing to personally deliver it to her address, while the church said, look, listen, lady, stop bothering me. I don't want to help you. Just hang up the phone. So I guess that just shows you the state of Christianity and Islam in the West,
look,
right?
that's who we are. We're good people, and it doesn't matter that she's a non-Muslim. She's still going to get the baby formula because we're commanded to do good works. Yeah. We're commanded to give charity. That's an act of worship in our religion. It's also an act of worship in Christianity. They are also, as you will know, commanded to do good works.
You wouldn't know that.
They just don't do it.
Yeah.
They just don't do it.
They forgot. They don't read that bit of the Bible, do they?
I think churches are businesses now. I mean, whenever I've had any
empty businesses.
Failing businesses. Whenever I've had any interaction with the Church of England, for example, a few times I've been to interfaith events, or I've tried to get a comment from the Church of England. It's like going through a big bureaucracy. And you think that, they're Christian, right? When I was growing up, I was taught Christians are nice and fluffy, and they're going to do, the Good Samaritan, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's not like that at all. And
no, we've lost those days. I think it was once upon a time, because I remember my nan used to volunteer at the local church, and they did a lot of good stuff. They used to run orphanages and stuff like that. They used to act as midwives. The nuns would act as midwives from churches. They would go to houses and help women give birth during World War II period.
Yeah.
And before that, none of that. I don't think.
No, I remember when I was growing up, because I grew up for part of my childhood in a very kind of white area, just surrounded by Christians, and I remember people just I mean, even now, if you go out of London to the north of England, people are friendlier, aren't they?
Yeah.
And but I don't see that too much anymore.
You
get people they're hypocrites, right? You get people who actually do believe in God, do attend church, but they'll still turn you away on the street if you ask them for a favor. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, if I was a Christian, thank God I'm not. But if I was a Christian, I'd be despairing at the way that religion. It's just a lesson for us as Muslims, right? Yeah. That is a model of how not to run a religion and how to fail as a religious community. Yeah, and we have to just make sure we avoid all the mistakes that they've committed, like compromising on every principle they've ever had. Yeah, having a no connection whatsoever to the Word of God. Or to the church. These are the kind of things and the mistakes that Muslims need to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's insane how, when you look at Christianity today in Britain, immediately the only person that pops to mind is Tommy Robinson, a fake Christian who's not genuine, who's leading a right-wing extremist movement.
What Christian role models are there? I mean, obviously, if you look at the head of the churches,
I don't even know who the Archbishop of Canterbury is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a woman now, isn't it? And they've gone against their own principles and appointed a woman. They don't care what the Bible says. But it's like I don't know. I can't think of a. I mean, during my youth, people used to say Mother Teresa. In India, that nun in India, that Albanian nun. She used to be the example of a good Christian, and I can understand that because she obviously devoted her life to helping the poor.
She was quite controversial.
But now. Now, was she controversial? How is she controversial?
She used to mistreat people, apparently. That's the accusation.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Even her, Mother Teresa, had a lot of problems,
But when there was a saying when I was small, it was like, who do you think you are, Mother Teresa, when you were doing good stuff,
Yeah.
And but I can't think of any Christian role model in the whole world at the moment. That people kind of
who is it?
Want to be
Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
What? Oh my God! But I'm just so pleased this sister saw it. She actually saw an American woman do the exact same thing with the same results in America. So again, this is a reminder. I know we get a lot of right wingers watching us. We actually have a little fan base among the far right here. Please open your minds, open your hearts. We, unlike the left, the woke left, we actually don't mind engaging and having discussions with the right, because dawah applies to everyone. Islam is for everyone. And when we say that we're actually here to make Britain better, it's not because we're trying to take over and, just like, chop everyone's hands off. It's actually because Islam genuinely, headlines and propaganda aside, is a beautiful religion, which is a just religion, and it's about helping ordinary, decent people in any way that you possibly can. This woman has experienced Islam. She has experienced the true essence of Islam, which was an involuntary act. It was just some guy on a phone put on the spot. It wasn't staged, and he automatically did the right thing, which was try and help a woman. Even though she said, look, I'm not a Muslim, he said, yeah, don't worry about that. I want to help you and your child. Now, if you can't see the beauty and the genuine want to help behind this type of act, and you still want to just hate and blame Muslims for all of your problems, then you are an idiot. You are simply an idiot. And that's why we go in so hard against people like Tommy Robinson and his ilk, because you are bad people. You are the bad people. We are the good people. So yeah, there you go. That's what
it reminds me of a story. I'm going to try and conceal. I don't want you knowing who this person is, but it was kind of a friend, a non-Muslim friend of the family, and they were a friend of the family for like 40 years. They've known us for about 40 years, and this person sent a package to me from a location, and she charged me for it. She says, "Here you go, Roshan. That'll be $6.99." And I was just thinking, would any of my Muslim friends have done that? I mean, come on. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just attitudes that have changed so much. That's the consequence of attacking and destroying religion in society. We're taught now that that's an enlightened thing to do, that Islam's a thing of the past, and that we are better off moving on from that. That's what youngsters are pushed with today. But we're starting to see the consequence. You attack religion, society starts to break down in ways that you may not fully understand until it's happened, and it's to the detriment of ordinary people. Politicians are okay in their castles and palaces, but ordinary people suffer those consequences. Yeah. Well, since we're back in the UK now, let's talk about a very uncharitable act by our so-called Muslim Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. She's introduced some very controversial new plans to basically attack asylum seekers in a series of new policies that she's going to put forward. These include things like, instead of waiting 5 years for asylum seekers to seek their right to stay, it's going to take up to 20 years. People can get deported, including like children, to countries like which are war-torn. Just harsher policies trying to force asylum seekers out.
Robbing their jewellery.
Yeah, exactly. Taking their assets in order to pay for the deportation. So there's a lot of things here. Very Reform UK style of legislation.
Just
here.
imagine,
fact,
like,
she was even praised by Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage for this. Crazy stuff. What do you make of it, Roshan?
Just imagine. Got this picture in my head of someone fleeing a war zone, like getting out by the skin of their teeth with their family, arriving at a British border point, and the border guard asking, "Can I have your wedding ring, please? I want to pawn it so I can pay for your hotel." I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems very un-Islamic and shameful, really. Yeah. I'm ashamed that the government has got a brown Muslim woman to do the white man's work, and I find it very disgusting that she is a person who has directly benefited from immigration through her parents, okay? Had a great education here, went to Oxford, is now the Home Secretary, one of the highest offices of state. She's benefited from immigration. And now her sole job is to keep the brown and black man out of Britain. Yeah. I just find it highly hypocritical. I find it uncompassionate. And our religion, Islam, teach us compassion to those who are weak and worse off than us. And that is the state of immigrants. The vast majority of immigrants come to this country are fleeing, if not war zones, fleeing poverty, economic poverty. And a lot of that poverty, I tell you what, has been caused by Britain. Yeah. How many countries have we invaded or destabilized? Syria, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, even countries like Pakistan now. We have a military junta there backed by Britain. cracking down on thousands of people who support Imran Khan. This is blowback. Immigration is blowback for Britain's colonial empire. And I'm actually a little bit upset at Muslims as well, because half the Muslims I meet also have this bugbear about immigration, even though they directly benefited from it themselves. I think it's a hoax. I think it's a racist right-wing hoax. And I just want someone to make the positive case for immigration. If you look at it logically, Britain needs immigration. And I'm not saying completely open borders. Obviously, it has to be managed in some kind of way. But generally, Britain needs immigration. Because it has an aging population. And I'm sorry to say this, it has a work-shy native population. Okay, native Brits, and it doesn't matter if they're white or brown, but people who've been here a long time, they do not want to do the menial jobs. Those jobs are being done by immigrants by and large. If you take the London Tube at 6 a.m. in the morning, you're not seeing white people. You're seeing black people, brown people, people with very poor English and stuff like that, because they're doing the menial jobs, getting up at that time. The white people don't surface till like 9 o'clock. They've got to work off their hangovers. Yeah. It's just I find it a racist hoax that Muslims are bought into as well. Britain's economic ills are nothing to do with immigration. They're to do with post-Brexit trauma, post-COVID trauma, low investment, high energy prices, weak housing stock, all this kind of stuff. None of that is the fault of immigrants. Immigrants bring a net benefit to this society economically. That's what all the data proves. But also culturally, Britain is just a much more interesting place with immigrants. I like the fact that Britain is multicultural. What would be more boring than having loads of little Englanders like, Nigel Farage and Richard Tice and Rupert Lowe? Imagine a Britain, full of those kind of people, how boring it would be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's about a fight of what we want Britain to be. There are right-wing forces that are polishing themselves up, trying to get into number 10 now, and they're trying to make a sort of well-thought-out argument about why they should be in and why we have to be harsh on immigration. But there's also an agenda that they're not talking about, what they really want to achieve. And I think people need to wake up to the reality that we may have a right-wing government which wants the power to deport anyone and everyone at will whenever it wants. So this whole talk about getting out of the ECHR, the European
Court of Human Rights, whatever it is,
okay, they're saying, well, it'll give us more power, more sovereignty, we'll be free to do whatever we want, and we can protect our own British interests. Well, that's what Brexit was all about, and apparently that was supposed to be an economic dream come true. If we get out of the EU bloc, we'll be financially better off. That hasn't come true. The same people arguing now to get out of the European Human Rights Council court is, I think they're going to basically bring Britain to a point where they can literally do what they want. I mean, who knows? They might bring back the death penalty, target people from religious minorities.
Yeah.
But not if it's, that's the thing, all of these things, death penalty, kicking out foreigners, it's great if it was being handled by a just leader and authority.
I agree.
But what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters, you might want to feed in and go, I'm British, I want to be proud of this country as well, kind of thing. Let's kick out foreigners and get along with the right. The right are going to turn on you. They're going to hoard power so that when they're in office, they can now say, now we can deport you. I don't give a toss if you were born here. I don't give a toss if your parents were born here. We can revoke your passports. You're dual citizen. Get the heck back to wherever they would call it a shithole country that you come from. These are the people that are trying to take power and to give themselves kingly authority by cutting Britain out of the European Union. So we have to educate and be wise about this and not think that just because I've got a piece of paper that says I'm British now, that there aren't forces in this country. They're talking about mass deportations. How many illegals do you think that are included in the mass deportations? They're talking about more than that. They're talking about Muslims that are actually here and are legally here to stay. They want to mass deport brown people. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Shabana Mahmood, I saw that speech in Parliament, and she said that the reason why she was doing this is because we need to get a hold on this situation because it's dividing our communities. So she wasn't just making an economic argument, but like a cultural argument about a cohesive society. But you know who's dividing our communities? It's these racists. It's the racist project, which is Reform UK. You know, it's the racist project, which is GB News, Talk TV, Elon Musk, you know, this grand coalition. And they're the ones stoking up all this hatred. By and large, Brits get along with each other. Okay, obviously, if you spend your life on Twitter, X, then you think Britain is in civil war. But X is not real life. It's a manufactured bot farm hate factory. So you know, the reality is we have a minority of well-funded individuals and movements in our country, funded mainly by foreigners, that are trying to instigate a race war in the United Kingdom. But they are the minority, and we always must remember that. And I can't believe that what Labour's trying, just my last point I want to make, Robert, is what Labour is trying to do is they're trying to steal Reform UK's clothes. And they're trying to think, oh, if we get on top of this immigration thing, we're going to kind of foil their plots to gain power. But people will they don't understand. I mean, Shabana Mahmood was on GB News yesterday. She gave an interview to GB News. She does not understand that every single GB News, you know, employee and viewer hates her guts and probably thinks she's a dirty P, you know, Muslim. And basically, why vote for Labour when you can vote for the real thing, which is Reform UK? It's completely misguided. They should be making the positive case for immigration.
And for a multicultural Britain as well. You know, I mean, the fact is that I enjoy the fact that, you know, my wife is from Yemen, you know, and that my kids are dual national. They have Muslim names. I mean, are you seriously telling me, okay, you may not like Muslims. I know there's a lot of people watching this who'll be like, yeah, I don't like Muslims. I don't care if anything happens to them. But you might have a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law who's from the Caribbean originally. You might have a daughter or a son-in-law who's originally part Chinese or something like that, or a cousin or who's Greek or something like that. You think when they're done with the Muslims, all of these far-right racist forces, that they're going to give the blacks a pass or give the Chinese or the Europeans or whatever? Remember the day when they hated all Polish people? There's loads of Polish people in this country who've integrated and intermarried and all that stuff. You're going to be happy when they come back and target them? They used to target the Irish. There used to be signs on hotels saying no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Do you want to go back to those days? Because when a lot of these types talk about, oh, the good old days of Britain, you know, I don't think they're talking about Victorian era, what they used to call them, workshops. They're not talking about that. They're talking about the good old days where signs like that used to be on hotels. You know, we talk about.
You see, you're experiencing now. Obviously, you're a lot younger than me. You're experiencing what it felt like to be a Muslim in the 1980s Britain, when racism was open and in your face. Now, obviously, that doesn't happen so much in your face, simply because they know that we'll hit back. You know, whereas we took it in the 1980s, now we're not going to take it anymore. But it's happening online. You through anonymous accounts, blatant racism, blatant Islamophobia. That kind of stuff was happening in real life. And I think it feels like we could get back to that point where it's happening again in real life.
They're trying to make Britain great again.
If this racist project, spearheaded by Reform UK, wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. I was going to play out Adnan Hussein's response and a few others to Shabana Mahmood, but I think what I'll do is I'll move on to the next story, which is also related to Adnan Hussein. It's the Your Party.
Your Party.
We sort of
their party.
We sort of. We decided last week, we're not going to talk about Your Party right now. We'll wait till the conference comes and it's a bit more relevant, because obviously every day there's a negative headline that we could discuss before. Just leave them alone for a bit now. But for goodness sake, they just can't help themselves getting out there into the headlines for negative
We don't even want to talk about them.
But we can't help ourselves.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is. The Your Party has bumbled itself into another scandal as a senior Muslim MP in the movement, Adnan Hussein, Blackburn's MP, has decided that he is going to quit the movement. And he's bemoaned a toxic environment, factionalism, and even veiled prejudice against Muslim men being behind the reason that he decided to back off from the project. So it's really damning that your party now appears to be Islamophobic as well as everything else. It's embroiled in a financial scandal, legal letters are flying. They've talked about as well that they can't, the money that they needed to help the conference to get underway.
Zarah Sultana won't transfer it, yeah.
And it all centers around Zarah Sultana. So again, Zarah Sultana has been at odds with Jeremy Corbyn. She's also been at odds with Adnan Hussein. Now even Mohammed Iqbal.
Oh, really?
In Batley and Dewsbury. He's also entered into a Twitter war of words.
Oh, is he?
Not with Zara directly,
but her supporters.
Her supporters.
Oh, her supporters are vile.
What's a mess. Yeah, so Zarah Sultana, very pro-trans, progressive, woke. She's been coming out and making the pitch that your party needs to be hostile and intolerant and unwelcoming to socially conservative types. What does she mean by that? That message was a veiled dig at Adnan Hussein, who's a practicing conservative Muslim, and so on and so forth. There was a war of words between the two, and now he's ended up walking away from the project. So basically, Zarah Sultana represents a woke, rainbow, LGBT mafia that wants to kind of, it seems to me, seize control of this new project to make it all about wokeism.
Yeah.
Wokeism being the thing that kind of has led to the rise of the far right to begin with, because everyone hates woke, so they've gone far right. Jeremy Corbyn, I don't know why he is on this. He seems to be trying to stick the pieces together with paper mache, and it's not sealing up the cracks, and it's just turned into a complete laughing stock, a total circus clown act. And this is just days away from the opening conference where we were finally supposed to figure out what the damn name of this party is.
It's going to be your party, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
Just going to keep it your party. Keep
I think
it easy.
so. It's stuck now, isn't it?
And now I don't even know if Adnan Hussein's even going to be at the conference, let alone some MPs. So total disarray, total chaos. Roshan, what do you make of this?
I think Zarah Sultana has made your party a hostile environment for Muslims.
Yeah.
Now, people might laugh at me when I say that, and they say, oh no, she's a Muslim and she's against Islamophobia. But being against Islamophobia also means that you don't exclude Muslims. And by saying that socially conservative people aren't welcome in the party, she's effectively saying that practicing Muslims aren't welcome in the party. Yeah. Now, she hasn't explicitly said anything like against Muslims, but joining the dots, that's exactly what she's saying. And I think basically Adnan Hussein is tearing his hair out. And I suspect the other Muslim MPs probably are too. I wonder if they're going to leave as well. But I think what's happening is that you have the Jeremy Corbyn faction, which includes the Muslim MPs, who want like a broad church of differing views across the leftist spectrum, the progressive spectrum, and that means a certain amount of socially conservatives. Whereas Zarah Sultana wants this pure leftist, socialist, pro-trans, pro-LGBT party. And the problem is that, okay, if she wants that, fine, but it's not going to win any seats in Parliament, or very few. Yeah. It's going to be a minority party.
Protest
group. It's a protest party that will have a core support of maybe 5 to 10% of the population, those hardliners. But that's not going to make any electoral impact. Whereas I think what Jeremy Corbyn has in mind is a broader party that can be a coalition of different progressive forces with some compromises made. And that has a chance of maybe gaining 20% of the vote, which becomes extremely interesting. So let's see how it goes. I personally think that right from the start, I've said, let this play out. I don't think Muslims should get involved, because I think if you do get involved, I think ultimately there is a section of the left, and these people tend to be Zarah Sultana supporters, who have deeply entrenched Islamophobic views. We tend to think of the right being Islamophobic, but the left can be Islamophobic as well. I always say the right want to kill us and deport us, the left want to destroy our religion. And a lot of the left, they're hardcore atheists, hardcore, liberal, secular fundamentalists, pro-LGBT, pro-trans. They think our religion is mumbo jumbo. They despise our social conservatism. And the fact is, working with these people under one structure is going to be extremely difficult for practicing Muslims. So as I've always said, let this play out. Let this be Zarah Sultana's party. Let her lead it, and let's see how it plays out. If that's the way it goes and Zarah Sultana leads it, which I don't think she will. I personally think Jeremy Corbyn is more popular than her if it's a head-to-head. But if she does lead it, it will tank. And I will enjoy watching it tank, her project. If Jeremy Corbyn is in charge, it's got more of a chance of getting more seats, but ultimately I think he's undeserving of leadership as well. If you want my free advice, members of your party and adherents to my party, I'd actually elect a third party that's not those two. And they can just be the fundraisers or whatever. As far as Muslims are concerned, don't get involved. Just watch it from the sidelines and see how it plays out. And if they have an interesting electoral proposition in 3 years' time, maybe in certain seats we can vote for them. But just don't get involved with these guys because they'll drag you down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, the fact is that Zarah Sultana, the second she touched this project, it's been turning to shit, quite frankly. Everything she's touched, just scandal, chaos, mess, factionalism, people now wanting to leave, online spats and arguments. And I've been accused over the past sort of couple of days, I've been tweeting quite extensively about this, and people are now going to accuse me of I was being accused of being a misogynist.
Oh, yeah.
I was targeting her, even though, I've never said a bad word about her until this very day, this very incident. And I've spent years platforming Muslim women as part of my job.
That's their go-to thing. That's their go-to thing.
Yeah, apparently I'm a misogynist now because I dared criticize their supreme female leader on the woke side of things. The fact of the matter is that she's totally made a hash of everything related to the Your Party. And I just think that if she's not going to have the decency to step away from the project, then we have to have a real rethink about what this Your Party actually is going to be with her involved.
She won't step away. She wants to be leader.
She's too arrogant. She wants to take over the whole thing, obviously. And let me just be clear to all of those Zarah Sultana woke weirdos that support her. I never said a bad thing about her until quite recently because the way she's conducted herself is a disgrace. And also, I think that the Your Party, a lot of Muslims were really excited about this project, by the way, and they were willing to compromise on these awkward issues related to the rainbow stuff because they wanted to get behind the project to fight reform, to fight the far right, and to do what's right for this country and for minorities here. So they were willing to put all that to one side, do the right thing. Even other Muslims were criticizing that. You would express criticism over Muslims for doing that. The independent MPs didn't go to their supporters to ask if they should join the project. They just did it off their own backs. What message are you sending us? That was a disastrous decision, that they shouldn't have done it, and that we can't trust the woke, we can't trust the far left, because ultimately they are not willing to put Muslim issues at the forefront. They want Muslim votes, just like the Labour Party does, but they're not prepared to genuinely represent us at any stage. So this idea that we've got some kind of issue with Zarah Sultana because she's a woman or because she's some Muslim progressive is total horse shit. Her actions speak louder than her words. So she can sit there and go, I'm Muslim this, I'm Muslim that, I represent this, I represent that, but her behavior is what's putting people off, not what she's been saying at all. So yeah, what can you say?
I think it's the go-to. I've been called a misogynist as well, and it's the go-to. It's this assumption.
They would call us Islamophobic if they could, especially me being a white guy. They'd love to call me, oh, it's because you're a racist that you hate Zarah Sultana. That's her tactic. Yeah. But the fact is, they can't because I'm a Muslim. So they go, oh, he's a misogynist. He's a misogynist.
Yeah, I would say that is Islamophobic in itself, in the sense that your assumption is he's saying this because he hates women, and obviously that is an Islamophobic assumption, isn't it? I don't know,
because I'm a conservative Muslim, I hate women. I want to beat them up.
We got no issue with Zarah Sultana being in politics and raising her voice. It's what she's saying.
I initially thought she was going to do a good job. When she came into the party and criticised Jeremy Corbyn about Zionism and said that the way he handled himself as leader of the Labour Party was too apologetic, and then she came out and said, I'm anti-Zionist, that your party should be anti-Zionist, I thought, mashallah, do you know what? Despite all of the issues that we had with her on social issues, good job, way to go. Hold that guy to account. Put him under pressure. We were even willing to go around and ask Jeremy Corbyn if we saw him about this issue and to kind of back her up. But now look what's happened. Apparently when
she's got, you know what, Robert?
She's screwed it up for
the
herself.
last thing I want to say about this, I mean, she's actually got a better position on Palestine than Jeremy Corbyn. But you know, she's going to really struggle, I think, to be re-elected as an MP. Because in Coventry South, I think, where she is now, Labour are going to lose that seat.
Doesn't have the Labour Party
so she'll have to
machine
find
behind her.
another seat. And the realistic chance of her winning would be in a seat with a big Muslim population. And now lots of Muslims aren't going to vote for her simply because of her rhetoric over the last few months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that, and then again, she'll start calling her own community misogynistic if they make her feel unwelcome.
I honestly think if she stands, if she tries to stand in Birmingham, where she's from, then we should put up a independent Muslim candidate against her.
Absolutely.
Because what she has said and the way she has insulted practicing Muslims cannot be allowed to stand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, the Your Pie, we, you know, if I get the chance to go as press, I will go. I have genuine questions.
And we'll report it fairly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to report it fairly. I know people will accuse me of being whatever online, but the fact of the matter is that we really wanted this project. I really wanted it. You know, a few weeks ago, you was actually like really critical of the Your Pie, I think prematurely in my opinion. I thought you were being
I was right.
premature.
Go and say
You're
it.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. I was looking forward to it. I was even considering being more involved just as a journalist to see what's going on. Sort of report on the movement or whatever. I was quite keen on it, looking forward to it. But now, you were absolutely right.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously,
I don't want to get involved. I'll just report on it factually, and
I don't always
down.
I don't always get things right, but on this one, I think I have got it right.
Yeah,
by the way, you were right on. Now that we're starting this loving on who was right and who wasn't right, you're definitely right on the Hamas attack on October the 7th. The Israelis definitely did stand down for 6 hours on purpose. Yeah. So I'm convinced of that now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have found a lot of evidence for that. You know, it's really, really dodgy. Why, did you watch something? There's been a few documentaries. No,
I looked into it more. I looked into it more, and you know, even people in Israel are questioning that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So 6 hours was way too long.
Yeah,
they did it on purpose. They let it happen.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I think Al Jazeera, maybe it was Al Jazeera Arabic. They did a documentary on it, and a few other people have been raising questions about this. Electronic Intifada, of course, have been writing about this, and the evidence is overwhelming. Something dodgy was going on there. And Israel, I mean, sure, surprise attacks, one thing, you know.
I don't believe Hamas were in cahoots with Israel or anything like that.
No, nothing like that.
I think the attack was genuine by Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. But
Israel sniffing
but either they knew it was going to happen, they let it happen, or when they saw it was happening, they immediately took an operational decision. This is an opportunity. Let it happen. Let's intervene after a few hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously it's played out as it is. Israel's jumped on the genocide and has been totally disproportionate in its response, which was the original aim to begin with. Let's talk about this story now. This is an interesting one. I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. So a Muslim pilgrim in Medina visiting the Prophet's Mosque witnessed what appears to be a non-Muslim Western woman visiting the site. She's going very close. She's not going into the mosque.
That's the entrance to it.
But
I was there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, she's going right up to the entrance of the site. Not wearing hijab, not dressed appropriately according to Islamic customs and traditions, and she appears to be just a tourist, you know, taking pictures and doing whatever she wants to do there. But the brother filming was obviously shocked that a woman, whether she be Muslim or not, dressed the way that she was just able to just freely walk up there and go close to a very important Islamic holy site. In the heartland of the birthplace of Islam. We got a massive reaction from this. Some people, interestingly, were saying, you know, she's a guest and she's not going into the mosque itself, and that, you know, the idea that tourists learning about Islam and that type of thing, there was a bit more moderate about it. But a lot of people were saying, no, she's dressed inappropriately. She's probably a non-Muslim. This is outrageous. We shouldn't allow non-Muslims this close to our most beloved sites. What do you make of it, Roshan? Yeah,
so this is Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina, the Prophet's Mosque, and she's gone right up to the gate. So basically, the tradition has been for non-Muslims to be excluded from both Mecca and Medina in its entirety. Now, in terms of Mecca, that can't be changed ever because there is a Quranic injunction against it. There's a difference of opinion about whether non-Muslims should be allowed in Medina. And some schools of thought say that for a limited period of time, non-Muslims are actually allowed there. But the tradition has always been, out of respect for the Islamic holy sites, for non-Muslims to be banned from Medina as well. Now, obviously, Saudi Arabia is going through a westernization process. Music concerts, naked bikini or semi-naked bikini girls parading around swimming pools, sports washing, all this kind of stuff, entertainment galore on a Western style and on a Western scale. So I see this as part of that, where they're basically, they're stopping short of blatantly crossing Islamic injunctions, but they're approaching those red lines. And it's all part of this westernization agenda that MBS has implemented in Saudi Arabia, because he's a guy himself who loves the West, who thinks like a Western person. And I just think it's a shame. When I was in Mecca and Medina, I'll be honest, it was nice not to have any non-Muslims there. And you could just, you don't have to be distracted by non-Muslim stuff. It's just Muslim, halal, halal, everything halal. I mean, there was McDonald's there and Burger King. I don't think that's halal. So that even in the holiest cities in the world, you do get this hypocrisy, unfortunately. But I must admit, it was nice being in one place of the world or two places in the world where you don't see non-Muslims. And I enjoyed that simply because I could focus on Islam. And I think most Muslims feel this way. So I think it's a shame. I would personally be in favor of the rule being strictly applied once more and for non-Muslims to be banned from Medina.
Yeah, absolutely. I must admit that there was once a time, I've been told by sort of old school Arabs, that there was once a time where if you were non-Muslim, you weren't even allowed in an ordinary mosque. There was, in certain countries, like in Yemen, for example, in Iraq, they used to have signs outside of mosques that said non-Muslims are not allowed in our mosque. Now, obviously, I know people will turn around and go, but that, it's good for dawah to let these people in and to learn about Islam. But I just think, you can do dawah without having to, bring all these non-Muslims into your, very personal space. When I went to the Hagia Sophia Grand Masjid,
free-for-all.
It's a total free-for-all, and there were people literally desecrating the site. There were Christians sneaking in crosses and trying to do Christian prayers. There were women dressed. Even when they put on the outfit, they would take it off inside, like the one that's covering them, so they're not dressing modestly in the site. And it's ruining the experience for Muslims, and ultimately it's a mosque, supposed to be there for the Muslims to pray and seek closeness to Allah, and tourists were just ruining it. And I would hate to see something like that happening to such an important site. The Hijaz should be an Islamic
Well, the whole
state.
Of the Hijaz.
It should be, the Hijaz region, even if the rest of Arabia wants to become a Western free-for-all, Hijaz should just be Islamic.
Islamic free
It
zone.
should be the most strictest Islamic interpretation of the Sharia that exists. It should literally be everyone dressing modestly, everyone there who has to be Muslim. I just think it should be a non-Muslim no-go area. That's the only one that should exist on the planet.
You're taking it further. Obviously, places like Jeddah is in the Hijaz, and it's full of non-Muslims, expatriate workers. I don't have a major issue with that as long as they're not taking over. But what I would say is that when I went to Mecca and Medina 15 years ago, you weren't even allowed to take pictures. And now even Muslims can treat it a bit like a tourist attraction, taking selfies in front of the Kaaba. I don't particularly like, I'm not saying it's haram, but I don't particularly like that.
Well, at least let Muslims do that. Don't let non-Muslims do that.
Yeah, look, if they're going to do this...
Muslims are going to go there and respect
Robert, if they're going to do this, at least it's got to be controlled. They can't walk around freely. They should have strict tour guides who are with them and maybe giving them dawah. I could kind of understand that maybe, but to allow non-Muslims to walk freely around Masjid al-Nabawi...
Do you know what's going to happen?
It's going to upset Muslims as well. Muslims aren't going to like this.
Do you know what's going to happen one day? There are historic sites in countries like Australia and New Zealand and places like that, and they've opened the sites up for tourists to visit. occasionally a tourist will go and think it's funny to take a picture of themselves desecrating the site.
Yeah.
Because it'll get clicks and views on Twitter and TikTok. Trust me, if you allow tourism to erode into such important sites like this, it's going to start happening.
Yeah,
And
Robert.
you really want just one case of that happening at the Mosque of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You want one incident where some freaking Israeli or something sneaks in and starts desecrating pictures?
Israelis have been there.
I mean, just look at Tommy
They have
Robinson.
been there in recent years.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till
Dual
one-
Israeli nationals have been to Medina.
Wait till one of them goes right into the mosque and desecrates the site. It's going to happen. Tommy Robinson came very close to doing it at Masjid al-Aqsa. He lied. He said, I'm a Muslim, let me in. Subhanallah, may Allah reward that Palestinian uncle who saw through the lies of these disgusting, filthy people. Him and an apostate called Apis. They almost got in, and God knows what they would have done in Masjid al-Aqsa. And the Palestinians are like occupied, do you know what I mean? They're occupied, so that situation may happen against their will. But what, you're going to just welcome in tourists like that to start coming in and insulting people? You don't know who's going to show up.
Robert, if Christians, if there was a church, for example, and Christians say only Christians are allowed in, I'd understand it. And I'd respect it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I'd say, all right, fine, that's your prerogative.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problem. But the fact is that
Muslims going into churches, going into synagogues, this interfaith stuff, why are we forcing our way in there?
Yeah.
Let them do their thing. They have their religion, we have our religion.
if a Jew says to me, you can't go into that synagogue because it's a synagogue just for Jews, I'd say fair enough.
Tell us what you think, brothers and sisters. Maybe we're taking a position where we've got a consensus here at Five Pillars on this view. A lot of you might disagree. You might think maybe there's some dawah initiative here that we're not noticing, some kind of potential here to bring more people to Islam. So maybe there's a difference of opinion here. Tell us in the comment section, because I'd be interested to hear. There was a lot of opinions shared on Twitter.
What are people saying? I didn't read it in the comments.
I think people were saying, a lot of people were saying, how do you know she's a non-Muslim? She might be a convert without a hijab yet, for example. I don't know who she is. She could be anyone.
Non-Muslims, definitely.
Looks like a tourist to me, non-Muslim tourist, but who knows? Some people were saying, it's a dawah thing.
She's not even making an effort to put like a debatter on or something like that,
Because some people are just saying, like, obviously they shouldn't be allowed into the mosque, but obviously into the city of Medina, it could be a dawah opportunity, that type of thing. Just tell me what you think, brothers and sisters, what you think, and I'll definitely be interested to learn more about what people think.
But Robert, even in Mecca, I did see a few Muslim women wearing like a Benazir Bhutto type hijab, like a North Tehran type hijab, where you can see most of their hair. And I was thinking, subhanAllah, you're in the holiest place in the world, and you can't even follow basic Islamic strictures.
You can't just,
you're literally sinning openly in the holiest place in the world. I thought, how can you do this?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? Well, talking about Saudi Arabia, obviously here's a clip of Mohammed bin Salman, who's visited the White House. He's obviously gone there and was recorded speaking to US President Donald Trump. Now, the one particular clip we're going to focus on is comments he made about the Abraham Accords. Let me play out the clip now, and then we can react to it afterwards.
So definitely we believe having this relation with all the Eastern countries is a good thing, and we want to be part of the Abraham Accord, but we want also to be sure that we secure a clear path of two-state solution. And today we have a healthy discussion with Mr. President that we're going to work on that to be sure that we can prepare the right situation as soon as possible to have that.
I think we're, I don't want to use the word commitment, but we've had a very good talk on the Abraham Accords. We talked about one state, two state. We talked about a lot of things in a short period of time. We'll be discussing it further too. But I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region. And we will do our best to that lead.
Well, there you go. Saudi Arabia just clarifying there that they are down with the Abraham Accords. They're holding out for, apparently, because of the two-state solution issue. I'm sure there are people who will doubt that. They'll say maybe they're holding out for something else, some kind of economic-related benefit, perhaps, that they're hoping for. Maybe arms. They want, like, the West. Maybe even the nuclear issue. They might be waiting for America to give them the permission to build nukes and to build nuclear energy. Maybe that's what they're holding out for. Who knows? But yeah, it looks like they're going to do it eventually. It's just a matter of when.
I mean, straight from the horse's mouth, we've heard it. I mean, Saudi Arabia is on a path to normalization with Israel. Now, we knew this for several years. And this is the reason why October the 7th happened, or one of the main reasons why Hamas chose to attack Israel that day, to stop Saudi Arabia normalizing with Israel. So have the Palestinians given 200,000 plus lives so that this is only delayed by a few years? I mean, subhanAllah, if that happens. I mean, it's straight up traitor talk, Robert. You know, there is a red line that's been crossed, and that red line is no Muslim nation in the world should ever recognize the Zionist, apartheid, genocidal state of Israel. So MBS has crossed a red line. And all this talk about it's only going to happen if the Palestinians have a state of their own, etc. Fig leaf. It's BS, Robert. We know very well that they are behind the Trump plan. The UN Security Council voted for it, you know, and all these Muslim nations, including Turkey, UAE, Pakistan, many others, have backed it. And it is basically a plan to disarm the Palestinians. No Palestinian state can be viable if it doesn't have the means to defend itself. So it's all a fig leaf. We know what MBS wants to do. He wants to eventually get some kind of deal in place whereby the Palestinians have a semblance of a state, which isn't really a state, but he'll pass that off as a state, and he'll use that as an excuse to normalize with Israel, which is what he's always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's just, it's very sad, isn't it? I mean, the fact is that Arab life has, I think the Arab leadership itself has allowed their own blood, their own life to become so worthless that a genocide can happen in Gaza and basically no one in the West blinks an eye, it seems almost. You know, it's totally permissible now to mass murder Arabs. So for the Saudis and the Emiratis and the rest of them to be sitting in their golden thrones thinking that they're safe from this, well, you've allowed the value of Arabs to be so debased that when the day comes where Saudi Arabia loses its importance, maybe when the oil runs out, for example, don't think they're not going to mass murder you as well, because you're the same as Palestinians in their eyes. You know, you're just wealthy Arabs. Trump sees you as just, I mean, he was celebrating the fact that MBS was offering him $1 trillion investment or something like that, and Trump was very pleased with that. But what about when the oil and the money dries up? They're not going to see you as valued partners or friends, as Trump called him. They're just going to see you as animals, as cannon fodder, which is exactly how they've treated the Palestinians. I mean, Trump uses the term Palestinian as an insult.
Yeah.
Like he's like a Palestinian, basically calling him like dirty dog or something, you know. It's like Palestinian, it's like a dog. Astaghfirullah, I'm sorry to say to the Palestinians, because they're actually a beautiful people. But yeah, you think that he sees you any different just because the only difference is you've got money. The Palestinians are the ones being land stolen now. The day they want to steal some Saudi land, they'll treat you exactly the same.
I mean, it's just sickening. These images are sickening and disgusting, because the very fact that he's sitting with a man who has enabled, financed, backed the genocide of Palestinians, which isn't in the distant memory. It's literally, you know, last couple of years, and it's still ongoing to a certain extent. I find it unconscionable him just sitting with him, quite frankly, or any Muslim leader sitting with him. But not only that, he's investing in America and making America stronger. You know, he's investing $1 trillion in the United States economy. So he is making the big shaitan bigger and stronger. I mean, it just beggars belief. I mean, our generation of Muslim leaders are literally perhaps the worst that's ever been, the most shameless that has ever been. And may Allah give them what they deserve.
Yeah. If that investment was paying off somehow, that America was actually pro-Muslim in foreign policy somehow, or pro-Palestine in foreign policy, if that massive investment had tangible results for the Ummah, then it would be very different. I think a lot of Muslims would be pro-Saudi Arabia even now, you know, like Islam first agenda in American politics. But it's got nothing to do with that. It's not Islam first, not Muslim first, not Arab first. It's Islam, Muslims and Arabs last. It's just purely, please don't regime change me. I'll give you whatever you want, any oil, any money, any diamonds, any gold. Just please keep me in power so that I can stay as king and pharaoh of my little kingdom. And Trump says, yeah, you give me $1 trillion, no worries. And even then, it didn't save the Qataris from getting bombed, did it? So, you know, Arab leadership, my God, he should have learned from the Qataris. The Israelis were totally free to bomb and kill some Qataris, despite they had offered Trump all of those big deals. And the Saudis, what, they think they're in some safer position. If Israel changes its mind and wants to assassinate MBS, they'll do it tomorrow, and Trump will give them the green light. Doesn't matter how much they pay. Well,
Palestinians sold out yet again.
Yeah, what can I say? It's a sad state of affairs, like I say, and inshallah, we wait for a day of reckoning. I think, you know, all these sins won't go unpunished, and Allah has promised us in the Quran that bad people will be punished with hell, you know, burning hellfire. So yeah, inshallah, we pray and wait for that day. That's all I can say. But yeah, Roshan, we've reached the end of the show. Is there anything else to discuss?
No, we've gone through all the topics.
I think we've covered some good topics. Yeah, I think it's been a good week, and yeah, inshallah, we'll... like
Have we missed something out? I'm sure we missed something out.
There could be. I always like to double check. Those are the topics I wanted. So
yeah, you always like...
those are the topics I
miss my topics, don't you?
Sami Hamdi.
Oh, yeah, Sami Hamdi. Let's just briefly mention that. Obviously, it's nearly a week ago, but it happened, I think, the day after our last show. And obviously, he's got released, alhamdulillah. I was there meeting and greeting him at Heathrow Airport, and then he gave a press conference shortly afterwards. And it was a joyous occasion, you know. I think people genuinely happy to see him, lots of family and friends. And obviously, he's a great brother, and he's an asset to the community. I think he's got unparalleled eloquence and knowledge about, you know, North Africa and the Middle East area. So a definite asset to the community. I think everyone recognizes that. And alhamdulillah, he is free. He was putting a positive spin on things. I didn't totally agree with what he said, by the way, because maybe he's being more generous than me, but he was kind of painting it as a victory, and I didn't think it was a total victory. I think I'm more of a realist. I think ultimately he wasn't officially deported, but he was actually deported in the sense that he wasn't allowed to conduct a speaking tour of America based on the say-so of some Zionist extremists who have the ear of Homeland Security and the Trump administration. And that is absolutely outrageous. I did ask him whether he was going to sue, and he said he wouldn't because he felt that, you know, wiser heads in the American court system had prevailed and that he would be allowed to return to America. I doubt that very much. Let's see if it's tested. I think Sammy's a better person than me. He's more optimistic and puts a more positive spin on things. But I just think the way he was treated was outrageous. And I think there should be some reckoning for that. He should be allowed to return to America because he's committed no crime. He's not part of any terrorist organization. And alhamdulillah, no criminal record or anything like that. But the fact is that he was treated outrageously, and there should be some kind of recompense for him. And the one bright thing is that one thing that he said during his press conference is that public opinion seems to be changing in America. And it's becoming more pro-Palestine. I think that is true. The Zionists are clearly running scared, and that's why they tried to get him deported, because they are extremely worried about not only the public sentiment turning against Israel, but also the MAGA movement itself turning against Israel to a certain extent. So I think that's one cloud on or bright spark on a cloudy lining. What's the expression?
Bright light on a cloudy day or something.
Whatever, yeah. So you know what I mean. But other than that, I just think that despite his positive spin, I think he was being a bit too generous. And I think he's been treated absolutely outrageously, and there should be a reckoning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who knows? I think maybe he should try and get a visa immediately. And if they reject it for whatever reason, then he knows he should take legal action. Because just because they say, oh, no, you're free to come, that doesn't guarantee that they will, because it's going to go through the process again. And the forces that actually removed his visa may be the ones that
I'd like to see him test it.
Visa, so.
I'd like to see him test it. However, I kind of understand it if he doesn't do it, because who wants to be locked up for a couple of weeks, you know, deprived of your liberty and shackles and away from your family? I mean,
yeah, you can get the visa and then just not travel. You know, it's just about going to the local embassy and applying and seeing if they get back to you. If it's rejected, then obviously, you know, there's something dodgy going on. He should take legal action. I think he should try and get the visa, see what happens, and then maybe just not travel for now. Maybe wait until a new administration comes in. Who knows? But yeah, the Israel First forces, you know, I think that's the only sort of victory we can claim from the genocide on Gaza is that the Israel First and Israel and Zionism itself has become highlighted. They're actually calling it Jewish supremacy now. Like, it's actually out there. Jewish supremacy and Zionism are really in the spotlight now, like it hasn't been.
I mean, what do you think of that word, Jewish supremacy? Because I've heard a few people use it, and obviously we are at pains to differentiate between Jews and Zionists. So I'm not sure if that's a route we should go down, personally.
Well, let me say this.
But people are saying
our opinion on this is becoming a minority now. I think more and more people have reached the conclusion that we have to start talking about Jewish supremacy and calling it out for what it really is, whether we agree on it or not. So that's really like well done to the Israel lobby. They've put themselves.
They've made people anti-Semitic.
They've made people anti-Semitic, you know, and even. Us with our moderate view on this, I guess we've that's how far it's gone now in public opinion. They've gone so far sort of anti-Israel now that they're now starting to call out Judaism in some ways. I mean, there are people arguing online that actually there is religious they're talking about the religion and the scripture in Judaism being used, and obviously, you know, Zionists have been using religious.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, they've been using religious rhetoric and doctrine to
Amalek,
justify their genocide. So the fact is, if that's the direction it's going, it's on them. It's Israel's fault, and it's Zionists' fault, and it's all the pro-Israel proxies in the West's fault. The way they've handled it, they've really made themselves just look like a bunch of evil, barbaric monsters.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
the thing
is,
is,
not us. You can't just blame Five Pillars saying that's what they'll do. They'll say, "Oh, Five Pillars hate speech." It's like, well, actually, when we're at this stage not saying the most rhetoric using Jewish supremacy. We're actually saying no, not all Jews are Zionists still. You know, but a lot of people are not saying that anymore. They're saying no, this is a Jewish issue, and it's a Jewish genocide,
I think the thing is that obviously genocide has been happening for 2 years, and most Jews in the world are Zionists. Despite the fact that a genocide has just taken place, they haven't really abandoned Zionism.
Western Jews.
I mean, Zionism is a secular ideology, which I think has nothing to do with Judaism. But the fact is that the majority of Jews in the world are still supporting it. That is the issue. I think that is a disgrace.
Because of the actions of Israel and its supporters, people are reaching the conclusion that this is a Jewish supremacist regime, and it's killing Arabs and Muslims and Christians because they want only Jews there, and it's Jewish. It's just.
I mean, Israel.
Fascism,
There's no doubt.
Fascism.
There's no doubt about it that Israel itself is Jewish supremacist. The laws, the infrastructure of the society is Jewish supremacist. There's no doubt about it. They're the first-class citizen. Everyone else is second-class citizens. So I have no problem calling, you know, Israel Jewish supremacist. But to kind of use that term, it does kind of conflate the religion of Judaism with the political ideology of Zionism. I personally see no advantage of doing that. In the West, anyway, it's going to lead to unnecessary accusations of anti-Semitism, I think.
Yeah, maybe, but I think people are just sick and tired of what Israel's done, and they just don't care anymore. It's as simple as that. You know, people just don't care anymore.
The rise of anti-Semitism all around the world is purely down to Israel's genocide.
Yeah, so Israel, it's not safe for Jews because they get attacked, like on October the 7th and elsewhere. It's also increasing anti-Semitism globally. It's making Judaism look really, really bad. So actually, Israel is the worst thing for Judaism, as well as the worst thing for Islam and Christianity that's ever hit the region. Yeah. So imagine that. That's the reality we face now. Israel is so bad, and its behavior and treatment of the Palestinians has been so awful that actually Israel is a force for bad for Jews and Judaism.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It reminds me of the biblical story of, we're talking about the Bible, it reminds me of the biblical story of, you know, Moses. Obviously, Moses delivered the Jews from slavery to the promised land, but they disobeyed him. And they started to worship the golden calf, and despite all the wonders that they'd seen, that their God had delivered them from slavery, had parted the Red Sea, had, you know, plagues had been descended upon Pharaoh. They'd seen all these signs, yet they still rejected these signs and they worshipped the golden calf. Now, if that isn't a metaphor for modern day Zionists and Judaism and Israel, I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, tell us what you think, brothers and sisters. Don't forget to leave those comments in the comment section below. And yeah, inshallah, are we going to be back next week? I'm not sure what
I'm not sure. I do have something next Wednesday that I can't get out of, a conference that I have to go to. So we may do Muslims Uncensored one day early, one day late, or we may not do it at all.
Yeah,
let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it is going to be a busy schedule.
If there's a massive story, we'll definitely do it somehow.
Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, inshallah.
If it's just a normal week, we might give it a miss for 1 week.
Yeah, but don't feel too bad. We will be back, inshallah, at some point, one way or the other. So thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely. And remember us in your du'as as well. And don't forget to leave those comments in the comment section below, because I will be looking out for your views on some of the subjects we've covered today, inshallah. So thank you very much. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Ma salama for now.